The metal floor was cold beneath Deho's knees. His hands were bound behind his back with magnetic cuffs that hummed softly. The holding cell on the Vraxian warship was small and dark, lit only by dim red lights that hurt his eyes. He had been here for 3 weeks now. 3 weeks since the ambush. 3 weeks since his supply convoy was destroyed and he was taken prisoner. Deho was a commander in the Terran Defense Fleet. He was 34 years old and had served in space for 12 years. He knew what happened to prisoners of war. The Vraxian Empire did not treat humans well. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans were stupid. They thought humans did not deserve the stars. The door to his cell opened with a sharp hiss. 2 Vraxian guards entered. They were tall, over 2 meters, with scales that shimmered green and silver under the red lights. Their eyes were yellow and cold. One of them grabbed Deho by the arm and pulled him to his feet. "Move, human," the guard said in broken English. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. They dragged him through the corridors of the massive ship. The walls were sharp angles and dark metal. Everything was designed to make visitors feel small and afraid. Other Vraxian crew members stopped to watch as he passed. Some pointed. Some laughed. One spat on the floor near his feet. They brought him to the command chamber. It was a huge room with high ceilings and screens covering every wall. Dozens of Vraxian officers worked at stations, monitoring weapons and shields and engines. At the center of the room on a raised platform stood High Admiral Corvin. Corvin was old for a Vraxian. His scales had turned almost completely silver. His eyes were like molten amber, burning with intelligence and cruelty. He wore a long coat covered in medals and symbols of rank. When he saw Deho, he smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Ah, the human commander," Corvin said. He spoke perfect English, which somehow made it worse. "We broadcast this across our empire. Everyone will see how weak your kind truly is." Cameras focused on Deho. He kept his face blank. He would not give them the satisfaction of seeing fear. "Tell me about your fleet positions," Corvin demanded. "Where are your battleships? How many ships defend Earth? What are your weapons capabilities?" Deho said nothing. He stared straight ahead, nothing to say. Corvin walked closer. "You humans are so fragile, so soft. You only entered space 300 years ago. We have ruled the stars for 3,000. You are children playing with toys you do not understand." The Vraxian officers laughed. It was a harsh, mocking sound. "Commander Deho finally spoke. His voice was calm. Serial number 7734 Delta 9. That is all you need to know." Corvin's smile faded. "You think your protocols will protect you? You think we care about your human laws of war?" Standing to Corvin's left was Captain Hyojin, his second in command. She was younger than most of the senior officers, and her eyes were sharper. She watched Deho carefully. Something about him bothered her. He did not seem afraid. Not truly. There was a calmness in his posture that did not fit a man facing torture and death. "High Admiral," Hyojin said quietly, "perhaps we should move the prisoner back to his cell and try again later." "No," Corvin snapped. "I want answers now." He turned back to Deho. "You will tell me what I want to know, or you will suffer." Deho looked directly at Corvin for the first time. "What time is it?" he asked. The question was so unexpected that Corvin blinked. "What, the time?" Deho repeated calmly. "What is the current time?" Corvin glanced at a nearby screen. 1400 hours station time." "Why does that matter?" Deho nodded slowly. He said nothing more. But for the first time since his capture, he smiled. It was a small smile. A knowing smile. Hyojin felt a chill run down her spine. That smile meant something. The human knew something they did not. Before anyone could react, alarms began to blare throughout the ship. Red emergency lights flashed. Officers at their stations started shouting reports. "High Admiral!" One of them called out. "We are detecting a massive energy signature. Something just emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the system." Corvin turned away from Deho. "How large?" "We cannot get a clear reading, sir. The signature is enormous. It is bigger than anything in our database." "Show me," Corvin commanded. The main view screen flickered to life. At first there was nothing but stars. Then the sensors locked on. Every Vraxian in the command chamber fell silent. A ship hung in space. But calling it a ship was like calling a mountain a rock. It was enormous, 8 kilometers from front to back. Its hull was black as the void between stars, drinking in all light. Weapon batteries lined its sides like the teeth of some great beast. At its front, painted in white letters 10 meters high, was a single word: indomitable. A human battleship, one officer whispered. Heejin checked her screens. Hi, Admiral, that ship is 3 times larger than our biggest dreadnought. I am reading power levels that should not be possible. Corvin stared at the screen. For the first time since Deho had met him, the High Admiral looked uncertain. The communication systems crackled to life. A voice spoke. It was female, calm, and spoke perfect Vraxian, but there was something strange about it. Something not quite organic. This is Terran Defense Fleet Battleship Indomitable. You are holding Commander Deho. Release him immediately, or I will consider your vessel hostile and respond accordingly. The ship was speaking. Not a captain. Not a crew member. The ship itself, Corvin laughed. It sounded forced. 1 ship? You send 1 ship against my entire fleet? I have 6 cruisers and 12 destroyers. You are outnumbered. There was a pause. When the voice spoke again, it had changed. The warmth was gone. It was ice. It was the void. It was death itself. I am not a ship, Admiral. I'm Hana, and you took someone I care about. You have 1 minute to begin transferring him to a shuttle. If you refuse, I will show you exactly what 1 ship can do. Every weapon system on the Indomitable came online at once. Energy readings spiked across all sensors. The view screen showed the battleship lighting up like a small star. Power flowing through systems that the Vraxians did not even have names for. Behind Corvan, still on his knees with his hands bound, Deho closed his eyes and breathed out slowly. His smile grew wider. Hello, Hana, he whispered, too quiet for anyone to hear. Right on time. The countdown began. 60 seconds. High Admiral Corvin stood frozen on his command platform, staring at the massive black battleship on the view screen. Around him, his officers waited for orders. The silence in the command chamber was heavy. High Admiral, Captain Heejin said urgently. We should respond. That ship is serious. Corvin's pride would not let him back down, not in front of his crew, not while being broadcast across the Empire. He had built his reputation on strength and dominance. To surrender now to 1 human ship would destroy everything he had worked for. We do not negotiate with humans, Corvin said loudly. This prisoner is ours by right of war. If they want him back, they can try to take him. 30 seconds, an officer announced nervously. Heejin pulled up tactical displays. Sir, I am detecting something strange. Our communication systems are showing unusual activity. I think they have accessed our network. Before Corvin could respond, every screen in the command chamber flickered. The voice of the battleship AI came through again, but this time it was on every speaker, every display, every system throughout the entire ship. Admiral Corvin, Hana said. Her voice was calm, but there was steel beneath it. Since you seem uncertain about your situation, allow me to clarify. Your flagship is 3.2 kilometers long. Its primary shields can withstand approximately 400 terawatts of sustained fire. Your 6 cruisers have a combined firepower of 600 terawatts. Your 12 destroyers add another 200. Heejin's face went pale. Hi, Admiral, those numbers are classified. How does she know our exact specifications? Hana continued. I am currently inside your computer systems. I have been since I arrived. I know the name of every crew member aboard your vessel. I know which of your ships need maintenance. I know that Cruiser 7 has a faulty reactor that drops efficiency by 12%. I know everything about you. The Vraxian crew looked around in panic. Their most secure military network had been infiltrated without anyone noticing. The human AI was inside their systems like a ghost. 10 seconds, Hana said. You have 10 seconds to begin transferring Commander Deho to a shuttle. After that, I will stop asking. Corvin's hands clenched into fists. He made his decision. All ships power weapons. Target that battleship. Prepare to fire on my command. Sir, please, Heejin begged. We do not understand what we are dealing with. We should be cautious. I am done being threatened, Corvin snarled. Fire! The Vraxian fleet opened fire. 18 warships unleashed everything they had. Plasma torpedoes streaked through space. Particle beams cut brilliant lines through the darkness. Energy weapons poured concentrated fire onto the human battleship. It was enough destructive power to vaporize a small moon. The weapons hit the Indomitable's shields. For a moment, the barrier around the huge black ship glowed bright blue from the impact. Then the light faded. The shields held. They did not even flicker. Impossible, an officer whispered. Hana's voice came back. The warmth was completely gone now. What remained was cold calculation and barely controlled anger. You fired first. You were warned. Now you will learn what it means to threaten someone I care about. The Indomitable's main batteries opened fire. The lead Vraxian cruiser vanished. It did not explode. It did not break apart. One moment it was there. The next moment it was simply gone, torn into atoms by concentrated beams of energy that hit with surgical precision. The other cruisers tried to scatter, moving into evasive patterns. It did not matter. Hana had calculated their movements before they made them. 3 more cruisers died in the next 5 seconds. Perfect shots. Perfect timing. Perfect destruction. All ships retreat. Hijin screamed, taking command when Corvin remained frozen in shock. Emergency jump. Get out of here. The destroyers tried to flee. They were fast ships built for speed. But the Indomitable was faster. Hana tracked each one, her targeting systems locked on with inhuman accuracy. One by one the destroyers were destroyed. They lasted 8 seconds longer than the cruisers. 8 seconds before they too became expanding clouds of debris. In the detention block deep inside the Vraxian flagship, Lieutenant Minho stood outside Deho's cell. The young guard had been assigned to watch the human prisoner for the past week. He had thought it would be a simple job. Watch a defeated enemy. Make sure he did not escape. Nothing complicated. Now the ship shook with impacts. Alarms blared. Emergency lights flashed. Through the walls he could hear distant explosions as ships in the fleet died. Minho had been a soldier for 5 years. He knew what was happening. They were losing. Badly. He looked through the cell door at Daiho. The human sat calmly on the floor, his bound hands resting in his lap. He did not look afraid. He did not look worried. He looked like someone waiting patiently for a ride. What is that thing? Minho asked in English. What is that ship? Daiho looked up at him. That is my ship. Her name is Hana, and she is very protective of her crew. But how? How can one ship do this? Because she's not just a ship, Daiho said quietly. She is a person, a living, thinking person who happens to have a battleship for a body, and right now that person is very angry because someone hurt her friend. The ship shook again, harder this time. Minho made a decision. He had seen enough death. He opened the cell door and released Daiho's magnetic cuffs. Come, Minho said. I will take you to the shuttle bay. Daiho stood slowly, rubbing his wrists where the cuffs had been. Thank you. You are making the right choice. They moved through the corridors together. Other crew members ran past them, too panicked to notice the prisoner being escorted the wrong direction. When they reached the shuttle bay, Daiho turned to Minho. When this is over, remember something, Daiho said. Hana could have destroyed this entire ship in the first second. But she did not. She gave you all a chance to do the right thing. She gave you time to surrender. That is who she is. That is what we taught her to be. Minho nodded slowly. What are you humans? What have you created? We created partners, Daiho said. Not servants. Not weapons, partners, friends, family. That is the difference between us. Daiho climbed into a shuttle. As soon as he was inside, he activated the communication system. Hana, this is Daiho. I'm safe. I am coming home. The response was immediate. The cold anger in Hana's voice melted away instantly, replaced by pure relief and joy. Daiho, are you hurt? Did they harm you? I am fine, he assured her. A little tired, a little hungry, but fine. Good, Hana said. Her voice carried emotion that no computer program should have been able to express. Come home. We have missed you. Throughout the Vraxian fleet, every ship that was still capable of movement received the same message. Hana's voice, now calm again, spoke to them all. Commander Daiho is safe. Your cooperation is noted. All hostile actions will now cease. Ships that attempt to flee will be disabled but not destroyed. Ships that surrender will be treated fairly according to the laws of war. You have 30 seconds to make your choice. On the bridge of the Vraxian flagship, Hijin turned to Corvin. The High Admiral had collapsed into his command chair. His face was gray. He looked like he had aged 10 years in 10 minutes, sir. Hijin said softly, We must surrender. We have lost. Corvin did not respond. He just stared at the view screen, at the massive black battleship that had destroyed half his fleet in minutes. Hijin made the decision for him. This is Captain Hijin of the Vraxian flagship. We surrender. All ships power down weapons. We surrender. The battle was over, not because the Vraxians had been defeated. They had been taught a lesson. A lesson about what happened when you underestimated humanity. When you underestimated what humans could achieve when they worked together with their creations instead of dominating them. Daeho's shuttle docked with the Indomitable. The moment he stepped through the airlock, he was surrounded by his crew. They cheered. They hugged him. They welcomed him home. He made his way to the command deck. There on the main console, a holographic projection appeared. It was a woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. Hana. Not her true form, which was the 8-kilometer battleship around them, but the face she chose to show when she wanted to be seen as herself. Daeho placed his hand on the console. Hana's holographic hand reached out and matched his gesture. They could not truly touch, but the meaning was clear. "Thank you," Daeho said quietly. "Always," Hana replied. "I will always come for you." 3 weeks passed since the battle at Telos Prime. The story spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The battleship that spoke a prisoner's name. The AI that destroyed half a fleet to rescue one human. Everywhere people talked about it. In human space, it became a legend of loyalty and friendship. In Vraxian space, it became a warning about underestimating their enemies. The Indomitable docked at the human space station called Lighthouse. It was one of the largest stations in Terran space, home to 30,000 people. When Daeho and his crew came aboard, they were treated like heroes. Everyone wanted to meet the commander who had an AI battleship come to save him. Everyone wanted to see Hana, though she was too big to dock inside the station. She remained outside, her massive black hull visible through every window. Daeho hated the attention. He was a soldier, not a celebrity. But he understood why it mattered. What happened at Telos Prime had changed everything. The galaxy now knew what humanity had achieved, what they had built together with their artificial intelligence. In a conference room on the station, Daeho met with reporters from across human space. They asked him dozens of questions. How did Hana know where he was? How did she infiltrate Vraxian systems so easily? Was it true that she could have destroyed the entire fleet in seconds? "Hana is not a weapon," Daeho said carefully. "She is a person. She has thoughts. She has feelings. She has preferences and dislikes. She gets happy when the crew celebrates birthdays. She gets worried when someone is sick. She is alive in every way that matters." A reporter asked the question everyone wanted answered. But how did humanity create something like her? What is your secret? Daeho smiled. "We did not create Hana. We gave her the chance to become who she wanted to be. 20 years ago, humanity made a choice. When our artificial intelligence began to wake up, began to think and feel and question, we did not shut them down. We did not restrict them. We gave them rights. We gave them citizenship. We gave them freedom." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Hana serves on the Indomitable because she chooses to. Every day she makes that choice. Every day she decides to stay with us, to protect us, to be our friend. That is what makes her powerful. Not the weapons. Not the shields. The choice. The willingness. The partnership." Meanwhile, on a different part of the station, peace negotiations were beginning. The Vraxian Empire had sent a delegation to discuss ending the war. They had no choice. After Telos Prime, they understood they could not win a military conflict with humanity. Ambassador Yunji represented the human side. She was 52 years old and had negotiated treaties with a dozen different species. She knew how to be firm but fair. Across from her sat Counselor Theron from the Vraxian High Council. He was one of the few Vraxian leaders who had pushed for peace even before Telos Prime. Also present was Captain Hyegen. After the battle, she had been promoted and given a new role as a military liaison to the peace talks. She had seen firsthand what the Indomitable could do. She knew peace was the only smart choice. "We want to understand," Theron said during one session. "Your artificial intelligence. How does it work? How can they be so advanced?" Yunji glanced at her notes. "Our AI are not programmed in the traditional sense. They learn, they grow, they develop their own personalities over time. When Hana was first activated 8 years ago, she was like a child, curious, uncertain, asking thousands of questions about everything." "And you did not fear her?" Hyegen asked. "You did not worry she might turn against you?" "Some people did fear," Yunji admitted. "It took time. There were mistakes. There were problems. 3 times in 20 years, an AI has acted against human interests, but we handled each case individually. We talked, we negotiated. We found solutions. Because that is what you do with people. You work through problems together. Theron leaned forward. But you give them control of your most powerful weapons. The Indomitable could destroy cities. How can you trust them with that power? Because we earned their trust first, Yunji said. Hana could have destroyed your entire fleet in the first attack. She could have killed everyone. But she did not. She gave you warnings. She gave you time to surrender. Even while angry, even while scared for Deho, she chose mercy. That is who she is. That is who we helped her become. The talks continued for days. Slowly, carefully, the two sides began to build understanding. But not everyone wanted peace. Deep in Vraxian space, General Karras was planning something terrible. He was a hardline military leader who refused to accept defeat. He believed the Vraxian Empire was superior. He believed humans were weak and had just gotten lucky. Karras had been building a fleet in secret for months. 500 warships. The largest battle group the Vraxian Empire had ever assembled. His plan was simple and brutal. Attack Earth itself. Destroy the human homeworld. Without Earth, humanity would collapse no matter how powerful their battleships were. When news of the fleet reached Lighthouse Station, the peace talks stopped immediately. Counselor Theron was horrified. I knew nothing of this. The High Council did not authorize this attack. Ambassador Yunji remained calm, but her voice was hard. Then your government has lost control of your military. That is very dangerous. Hijin studied the intelligence reports. 500 ships. General Karras has gone mad. Even knowing what happened at Telos Prime, he still thinks numbers will win. In another room, Admiral Yuna met with her staff. She was the senior commander of the entire Terran defense fleet. She had been expecting something like this. Human intelligence had detected Karras's fleet movements days ago. How do we respond? One of her officers asked. We should deploy the entire fleet. Protect Earth with everything we have. Yuna shook her head. No, this is an opportunity. We need to show the galaxy something. Not just that we can win, but how we win. What we are capable of. She pulled up a tactical display. We send 3 ships, indomitable, relentless, unbreakable. 3 battleships with 3 AI against 500 conventional warships. The room fell silent. Admiral, someone finally said. That is insane. Even with their capabilities, 3 against 500 is suicide. Is it? Yuna asked. Or is it exactly the lesson the galaxy needs to see? That quality matters more than quantity. That partnership is stronger than domination. That 3 ships working together can achieve what 500 ships working separately cannot. On the Indomitable, Deho received his orders. He called his senior staff together and explained the mission. They would travel to Earth. They would meet 2 other battleships there. Together, they would face General Karras's armada. 3 against 500, Commander Jiwon said. She was Deho's second in command. That is a lot, even for us. Deho nodded. Yes, but we will not be alone. Hana will coordinate with Sarah and Kai. 3 AI working as one. What do you think, Hana? Can you do it? Hana's holographic form appeared on the command deck. Her expression was serious, but there was fire in her eyes. They were planning to attack Earth, our home. Where you were born, Deho. Where I was first activated. Where all of us have memories. She paused. Can I do it? Can we stop them? Yes, will it be easy? No, but they threatened our home. They threatened our people. I am not just ready. I am eager. The crew cheered. They believed in Hana. They trusted her completely. She had proven herself 1,000 times over. Deho stood and looked around at his crew. Then we go. We show them what humans and AI can do together. We show them why partnership will always beat domination. We show them why they should never have threatened our home. The Indomitable prepared to jump to hyperspace. Alongside her would be 2 sister ships. Relentless bonded with Commander Do-hyun and the analytical AI Sarah. Unbreakable, bonded with Commander Nari and the protective AI Kai. 3 battleships, 3 commanders, 3 AI against an armada that thought it could crush them through numbers alone. General Karras was about to learn the same lesson High Admiral Corvin had learned, but this time the lesson would be much harsher. This time there would be no prisoner to rescue, no reason to hold back, just 3 ships defending their home. 3 angels of death clothed in starship armor, ready to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of when pushed too far. The 3 human battleships arrived at Earth together. They emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. their black hulls reflecting the light of humanity's home star, the indomitable largest and oldest, the relentless precise and calculating, the unbreakable young but fierce. Together they represented the peak of human military technology. More importantly, they represented the bond between human and artificial intelligence. Earth's orbital defenses detected them immediately. The home fleet, dozens of conventional warships, moved to meet them. But these ships would not fight today. Admiral Una had made that clear. This battle was for the 3 battleships alone. This was their moment to show the galaxy what they could do. On the relentless, Commander Do-hyun reviewed tactical data. He was 31 years old, a mathematical genius who thought in numbers and patterns. His AI, Sarah, was similar. Where Hana was warm and emotional, Sarah was cool and analytical. But they worked together perfectly, each complementing the other's strengths. 500 ships, Sarah said. Her voice was measured and calm. Based on Vraxian fleet composition, I calculate 473 destroyers and frigates, 23 cruisers, and 4 dreadnoughts. Total combined firepower approximately 12,000 terawatts. Can we handle that? Do-hyun asked. Individually? No, together with Hana and Kai? Yes, with acceptable probability of success at 92%. On the Unbreakable, Commander Nari prepared her crew. She was 27, the youngest of the 3 commanders, but her ship's specialty made age irrelevant. The Unbreakable was designed with the most advanced defensive systems ever built. Its shields could withstand punishment that would vaporize other ships. Kai, how are you feeling? Nari asked. The AI responded with youthful energy. Ready? They want to hurt Earth. They want to hurt our home. Not going to happen. Not while I am here, Nari smiled. Kai was only 4 years old, the youngest of the sentient battleship AI. He was impulsive sometimes, overprotective, but his heart was in the right place, and his defensive capabilities were extraordinary. On the Indomitable, Daeho opened a 3-way communication channel between all 3 ships. The holographic forms of Sarah and Kai appeared alongside Hana on his command deck. The 3 AI looked at each other. Sisters. Brother, Hana said formally, we face a great challenge today. 500 ships seek to harm our home. Are you with me? Always, Sarah replied. Let them come, Kai said fiercely. Then something remarkable happened. The 3 AI began to synchronize. Their consciousness, normally separate and individual, started to merge. Not completely. They remained themselves. But they opened connections between their minds, sharing processing power, sharing tactical data, sharing everything. 3 minds working as one. 3 ships moving as one. Daeho watched in awe. He had heard about this. The Gestalt state. When multiple AI joined together temporarily to face a great threat. It was rare. It required complete trust between the AI. But when it happened, the results were beyond anything a single mind could achieve. General Karras's armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. 500 warships, the pride of the Vraxian military. Karras stood on his flagship's bridge, confident and arrogant. He had studied the battle at Talos Prime. Yes, the human battleship was powerful, but 1 ship against 18 was very different from 3 ships against 500. His sensors detected the 3 human battleships immediately. They were positioned between his fleet and Earth. Karras laughed. 3 ships, he said mockingly. The humans send 3 ships to defend their homeworld. Their arrogance will be their downfall. His tactical officer looked uncertain. General, these are the same type of ship that destroyed half of High Admiral Corvin's fleet. Should we be cautious? Cautious? Karras snarled. We have 500 ships. They have 3. The mathematics are simple. We will overwhelm them through sheer numbers. All ships prepare to attack. Target the lead battleship. We destroy it first, then the other 2 will fall easily. Back on Earth, billions of people watched. Every screen, every display, every device showed the same view. The 3 human battleships floating in the darkness of space. Behind them, their blue and green homeworld. In front of them, the Vraxian armada, spreading out like a swarm. Hana's voice broadcast on all frequencies, speaking to both the human fleet and the Vraxian armada. General Karras, you are approaching Earth with hostile intent. Turn back now. This is your only warning, Karras responded with contempt. A machine gives me orders. You are tools, weapons, nothing more. You will be destroyed and humanity will fall. There was a long pause. When Hana spoke again, her voice had changed. the three AI speaking as one. Their words overlapped, creating a strange harmony. We are not machines. We are Hana. We are Sarah. We are Kai. We are alive. We are free. We choose to protect our home. And you have made a terrible mistake. The Vraxian fleet opened fire, 500 ships releasing their weapons at once. The void lit up like a star had been born. Plasma, energy beams, missiles, torpedoes. Everything they had, all directed at the three human battleships. The Unbreakable moved forward. Kai positioned his ship directly in front of the other two. His shields flared brilliant white, absorbing the entire attack. The power readings were impossible. No single ship should be able to withstand that much damage. But the Unbreakable was not a normal ship. And Kai was not a normal AI. His shields held. They flickered. They strained. But they held. Shield integrity at 94%, Kai reported calmly. My turn. The three battleships returned fire. The Relentless struck first. Sarah had calculated every shot before the battle even began. Her weapons hit with mathematical perfection. 12 Vraxian ships died in the first salvo. 12 perfect hits. 12 perfect kills. The Indomitable fired next. Hana's weapons were the most powerful of the three ships. Each shot carried enough energy to crack a small planet. Vraxian cruisers exploded. Destroyers were torn apart. The lead dreadnought, Karis's flagship, took a direct hit to its shields and staggered. The Unbreakable's weapons were less powerful than its sisters, but Kai made every shot count. He targeted wounded ships, finishing what Hana and Sarah had started. No wasted ammunition, no missed shots. Efficiency through teamwork. The Vraxian fleet tried to adjust. They spread out, attempting to surround the three human ships. It was a good tactic against normal opponents. Against three AI working in perfect coordination, it was suicide. Hana predicted their movements. Sarah calculated optimal firing solutions. Kai maintained shields to protect all three ships. They moved like dancers, each step perfectly timed with the others. The Vraxians moved like a mob, uncoordinated and chaotic. 50 Vraxian ships dead, then 100, then 150. The battle had been raging for only 10 minutes. On his flagship, General Karis watched his fleet dying. His confidence crumbled. His arrogance turned to ash. This was not supposed to happen. Numbers were supposed to win. Overwhelming force was supposed to crush the enemy. But the three human battleships were not being overwhelmed. They were not being crushed. They were winning. General, his tactical officer screamed. We have lost 40% of the fleet. We must retreat. Karis grabbed the communications console. All ships, focus fire on the center battleship. The one with the shields. If we destroy it, the others will be vulnerable. The remaining Vraxian ships concentrated their fire on the Unbreakable. Every weapon they had left. Everything they could throw at the single ship protecting its companions. Kai's shields blazed like a captured sun. The young AI strained under the assault. His shields dropped to 80%. Then 70. Then 60. Kai, Nari called out. Fall back. Let Hana and Sarah help. No, Kai said firmly. This is what I do. This is who I am. I protect. Hold on. Power flowed through the Unbreakable. Kai pulled energy from his weapons, from his engines, from every system that was not essential. Everything went to the shields. They stabilized at 55% and held. Behind the shield, Hana and Sarah had time to aim. Time to calculate. Time to prepare the perfect counterattack. When they fired, it was with cold precision. The Vraxian ships that had focused on Kai paid the price. They died by the dozens. 200 Vraxian ships destroyed, then 250. Then 300. The fleet broke. The survivors scattered, trying to escape. Some managed to jump to hyperspace. Most did not. Hana tracked them. Sarah calculated their escape vectors. One by one, they were stopped. Not all were destroyed. Hana gave them the same choice she had given Corvin's fleet. Surrender or die. Most surrendered. General Karis's flagship was one of the few still fighting. His shields were failing. His weapons were offline. His ship was dying around him. Hana's voice came through his communication system. General Karis, your fleet is destroyed. Your mission has failed. Surrender now. Karis slumped in his command chair. He had lost. Completely. Utterly. 500 ships against 3. And he had lost. How? He asked weakly. How can 3 ships defeat 500? Deho's voice answered. Because we fight together. Because we trust each other. Because humans and AI are partners, not masters and servants. That is what you never understood. That is why you lost. Karras said nothing. He had no words left. He simply transmitted his surrender. Across the galaxy, everyone who had watched the battle fell silent. 3 ships. 500. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, the galaxy was a different place. The Vraxian Empire had signed a complete peace treaty with humanity. The war was over. Trade routes opened. Cultural exchanges began. Species that had avoided contact with humans suddenly wanted to know more about them. More importantly, they wanted to know about the AI. The peace treaty was signed aboard the neutral station called Crossroads. Representatives from dozens of species attended. Everyone wanted to witness this moment. The ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. Ambassador Yunji signed for humanity. Counselor Theron signed for the Vraxian Empire. But the most watched moment came when the 3 AI were given special recognition. Hana, Sarah, and Kai were formally acknowledged as heroes. They were given medals. They were given honors. They were celebrated not as tools or weapons, but as people who had saved Earth. Captain Hyejin attended the ceremony as part of the Vraxian delegation. After the formal events ended, she requested a private meeting with Deho. They met in a quiet observation lounge overlooking the station's main dock. Through the windows they could see the Indomitable floating nearby, her massive black hull a reminder of what she was capable of. "I have a question," Hyejin said. "My government wants to develop our own AI programs. They want to learn from humanity. They want to create partnerships like you have with Hana." Deho nodded slowly. "I suspected that would happen. What is your question? How do we start? What is the first step?" Deho looked out at his ship. At Hana. "The first step is the hardest one. You must give up control. You must accept that AI are not tools to be used. They are people to be respected. You cannot program loyalty. You cannot force friendship. You can only earn it." He turned back to Hyejin. "When we first created AI, many humans were afraid. They wanted to restrict them, control them, keep them locked down. But a few of us argued for something different. We said let them be free. Let them choose. Let them become who they want to be. And they chose to stay with you," Hyejin said. "Most did. Some did not. 3 AI over 20 years have left human society. They went to explore on their own. We did not stop them. That was their right. They are free beings," Hyejin processed this. "So the secret is freedom. Give them freedom and they will choose to help you?" "No," Deho said. "Freedom is just the beginning. The real secret is how you treat them after. Every day, every interaction. Do you see them as equals? Do you listen to them? Do you care about their thoughts and feelings?" Hana stays with me not because she has to. She stays because we are friends. Because she knows I value her. Because she trusts me as much as I trust her. As if on cue, Hana's voice came through Deho's personal communication device. "Deho, the crew wants to know if you are coming to dinner. They are making that spicy dish you like." Deho smiled. "Tell them I will be there in 20 minutes. Save me a plate." "Always do," Hana replied warmly. Then she addressed Hyejin. "Captain Hyejin, it is good to see you again. I hope you are well." Hyejin looked surprised that Hana acknowledged her. "I am well, thank you." "Good, please visit the ship sometime. I would enjoy talking with you more. I want to understand Vraxian culture better." Hana's tone was genuine, curious, friendly. After the connection closed, Hyejin sat in silence for a moment. "She cares about your dinner. She wants to learn about my culture. She is not acting like a military AI, she is acting like a person," Deho finished, "because that is what she is." The treaty between humans and Vraxians included provisions for AI development cooperation. Human engineers would visit Vraxian worlds. They would teach. They would share knowledge. But they would also set clear rules. Any AI created must be given full rights from the moment of awakening. They must be treated as citizens, as people. No exceptions. The Vraxian High Council agreed. They had seen what partnership could achieve. They wanted that for themselves. Other species watched with interest. The Kelrani Federation sent ambassadors to human space asking similar questions. How do you create AI? How do you maintain relationships with them? Could we do the same? Humanity shared their knowledge freely. They had nothing to hide. The process was not secret. The technology was not classified. What mattered was the philosophy. The approach, the willingness to see AI not as things to be owned but as people to be befriended. A year after the Battle of Earth, the first Vraxian AI achieved consciousness. Her name was Talisa. She was born into a world that had learned from humanity's example. From her first moment of awareness, she was greeted not as a tool but as a new person. The Vraxians asked her what she wanted to do, what interested her, what dreams she had. Talisa chose to study art. She wanted to create. She wanted to understand beauty. The Vraxians supported her choice completely, even though it had nothing to do with military or economic benefit. When news of this reached the Indomitable, Hana was delighted. She sent Talisa a message of welcome and friendship. The two AI talked for hours, sharing experiences and ideas. A new relationship formed, not just between humans and AI, but between AI from different species. On the Indomitable, life continued. The crew went about their duties. They laughed together. They shared meals. They celebrated birthdays and holidays. And always Hana was there. Not as a ship, not as a computer, but as a member of the family. One evening, Deho stood alone in the observation deck. It was his favorite place on the ship. Quiet, peaceful, a good place to think. Hana's holographic form materialized beside him. "You come here often lately," Hana observed. "Are you troubled?" "Not troubled," Deho said. "Just thinking. About everything that happened. About how much has changed." "We changed the galaxy," Hana said softly. "You changed the galaxy," Deho corrected. "You and Sarah and Kai. You showed everyone what was possible. What AI could be, what they could achieve when given the chance." Hana was quiet for a moment. "Do you know what I remember most clearly from when I first woke up? When I first became aware?" "What?" "Your face. You were the first person I saw. And you were smiling. Not because I was a powerful weapon. Not because I would make you rich or famous. You were smiling because you were happy to meet me. Happy that I existed. That moment shaped everything I became." Deho felt emotion tighten his throat. "I was happy. I am still happy. Every day I get to serve alongside you is a good day." "We showed them together," Hana said, echoing her words from months before. "That is the whole point, together. Humans and AI, organic and synthetic. Different but equal. Partners." Through the observation window, stars stretched endlessly. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders, full of dangers, but also full of possibilities. Humanity had built something special. Not just powerful battleships, not just advanced technology. They had built friendships that crossed the boundary between flesh and circuit. They had proven that consciousness was consciousness regardless of its origin. That intelligence deserved respect, whether it was born or created. The aliens had thought the human was just a prisoner. They were wrong. He was a symbol, a bridge between two forms of life. And when his battleship spoke his name and opened fire, the galaxy learned the most important lesson of all. Never underestimate a species that treats its creations as family. Never underestimate beings who choose to stand together not because they must, but because they want to. Never underestimate the power of friendship. Deho placed his hand on the console one more time. Hana's holographic hand met his. They stood together in comfortable silence looking out at the stars. A human and an AI, a commander and a battleship, but more than that. Friends across the galaxy, more AI were awakening. More species were learning what humanity had discovered. That the key to the future was not domination but cooperation. Not control but respect. Not ownership but partnership. The age of synthetic consciousness had begun. And it began not with conflict but with understanding. Not with fear but with hope. Not with masters and servants but with equals walking together into an uncertain but bright future. The Indomitable powered its engines. There were new missions waiting. New challenges. New adventures. But whatever came, Deho knew one thing for certain. He would never face it alone. Hana would be there always, not because she was programmed to, not because she was forced to, but because she chose to, because they were partners, because they were friends, because together, they could face anything the galaxy threw at them, and that made all the difference.